Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, there were zombies at WrestleMania Backlash, and they ate The Miz.
Yep. Yes, they did. But also, Rey and Dominik Mysterio have made history at WWE WrestleMania Backlash.
We've got a backstage update on Keith Lee's WWE status.
And WWE announced a big pay-per-view reshuffle. I'm Adam Nicholas.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the Zombie News!
Doing the zombie shuffle like an old school ghoul. Right, so, let's address the zombie in the room. There were zombies on the pay-per-view last night. What the hell is going on? The Lumberjacks in the Lumberjack match between The Miz and Damian Priest were zombies at WrestleMania Backlash. This was kind of teased on Raw when Damian Priest said something along the lines of, or Dad and Pierce, hey, zombies, aliens, get them in, they can be the Lumberjacks. It was teased again when Dave Bautista was on Twitter before the show saying, hey, I won't be at the pay-per-view, but some of my friends will, and that some of my friends line is relevant because Batista is in a film called Army of the Dead, made by everyone's favourite movie guy, Zack Snyder, which released a limited run of theatres last week. It's on Netflix next week. But this was co-promotion, right? So there's a bunch of people there for this match, dressed like zombies with the makeup and all of the stuff, doing zombie things, clawing and getting their ass kicked by Damian Priest. It was a relatively short match, mercifully, lasted about 7 minutes. Damian Priest picking up the win. But I guess the most notable part of all of this is that the zombies ate The Miz and John Morrison after the match. John Morrison kind of got dragged behind the barricade and eaten alive, and then when Damian Priest buggered off, all the zombies came in the ring and jumped on top of The Miz and ate him. And what is this pro wrestling, Adam Nicholas? Can you unpack this for me? I'm a bit confused.
Look, I've got to say, I'm super impressed by your journalistic integrity that has managed to remain throughout all of this story. As you try to explain to people at home about zombies invading WWE. I think this is bad when people spend the entire evening tweeting Dave Bautista about how it's his fault, essentially. And he says, don't blame me, tweet Vince McMahon for this stuff. Like, I mean, that's not even him going, hey, it was great, have a laugh. It's him saying, like, yep, it was bad, but why don't you talk to him about it and not me? Not my problem.
Yeah, I don't think Dave Bautista made the zombies.
No.
Now we should point out the identity of some of these zombies. Scotty 2 Hotty was one of them. A number of people picked this up, including Wrestling Jeebus on Twitter there. Scotty 2 Hotty in a lovely orange jacket, all zombied up. And a bunch of other people from the Performance Center as well. Fightful Select coming through with the report, noting that Joe Gacy, former CZW wrestler, Cal Bloom and Daniel Vito were definitely among the group, with Ikemen Jiro and Asher Hale potentially part of the lineup as well. So, I mean, I don't really know how to analyze this. It's the bloody zombies in the middle. I will say one thing, like, earnestly on all of this. WrestleMania Backlash was a really good show. And then in the middle of it, WWE just can't help themselves. Here you go, lads. Think this show's going well. Have some zombies. So, looking forward to a zombie Miz and a zombie Morrison on tonight's episode of Raw for sure. I'm certain that'll be followed up on.
Hadn't even considered that as a possibility for their future as a tag team, and now I'm very excited about that prospect. Listen, in trying to be positive about this, the zombies did look really good. Anyway, let's move on to something that was actually really good, something earnestly enjoyable and nice. Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio made history at WrestleMania Backlash last night, because they became the first father and son duo to become tag team champions. They defeated the Dirty Dogs, winning the belts. Great stuff, this. But not without controversy, Andy Murray, of course, because before the match there was a whole ordeal. The Dirty Dogs were up to no good. They had beaten up Dominik Mysterio. He was left out. Rey Mysterio, valiant as ever, went 2-on-1 with the Dirty Dogs. Until, of course, who would have thought, Andy Murray, finally Dominik Mysterio returns. And not only that, gets the win for them. Rey Mysterio with the 619 onto Bobby Roode, and then finally we get the frog splash from Dominik Mysterio, who wins the belts for father and son. Genuinely, earnestly good stuff, this, and I know there's a lot of speculation about where this leads to in terms of perhaps the Usos. You can maybe give us more on that after this, but yeah, just great stuff. This ends the Dirty Dogs reign at 128 days, Andy Murray, but we have new tag team champions, and they aren't zombies.
Yeah, they aren't zombies, which is positive for sure. Really weird tag team title reign by the Dirty Dogs, who won the belts in January, then didn't defend them until like April.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, these things are just like coasters or something. That was weird. But a really nice moment for the Mysterios, for sure. I'm sure it felt great for Ray to be in there with his son, winning a tag team title. That's the kind of stuff you're going to remember for the rest of your life. So it's nice to have something earnestly nice in this continued year of weirdness. 2021. So yeah, there was talk last week, a report we covered of potentially the Usos maybe coming back together and taking the titles from a babyface team, it was reported as. So maybe that's in their future. Fine by me. The Usos are one of my favorite tag teams of all time. So we'll see what happens. But for now, just nice.
Yeah.
It felt all
lovely stuff.
fuzzy,
hey, just nice stuff.
Yeah, nice. Speaking of nice, Keith Lee, he seems really nice. Got a backstage update on Keith Lee's WWE status, and that update is he's going to be a zombie. No, he's not. This is a new report here from PW Insider's Mike Johnson, speaking on their Elite audio show, stating that he has been led to believe that the issue currently keeping Keith Lee off WWE television is more creative than to do with an injury. Now, Lee has been away since February. He had previously been removed from the Royal Rumble. He came back for like a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and then he had to be taken away again. He was originally going to be winning the United States title at Elimination Chamber. That didn't happen. But now he's been off TV for another 3 months. No word on when he's going to come back. He tweeted something the other day along the lines of, today is a very important day, well, destiny and all of this stuff. We covered that story last week if you want more detail on that. But yeah, start 2021 for big beefy Keefy. I hope that whatever's going on with him, we've heard about medical issues and undisclosed medical problem previously, courtesy of Fightful Select. Hopefully that's not affecting him too much. But I'd like to see him back on our screens. I think the shows miss him, and he's a very talented guy. All the best to him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only thing I can add to that really is that you kind of hope he had a bit of a stop-start beginning in NXT, and then obviously things came right and he had a fantastic run in there. I only kind of hope the similar thing happens on the main roster. Whatever's going on, we need to get this sorted because Keith Lee is too good to not be on TV, definitely, whichever brand he may be on. So fingers crossed it does get sorted, and if it is a creative issue, get your fingers out. The man's amazing. Not hard to come up with things for that guy. He's fantastic and will make anything work if you let him. Anyway, let's move on to our last story of today, shall we, Mr. Murray? We have some big changes to WWE's pay-per-view schedule were announced last night. Hell in a Cell was announced to be happening it'll be happening next month, in June. Usually, of course, that pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell comes in like October in terms of the WWE pay-per-view schedule, and now instead of June slot for Money in the Bank, that has been moved to Sunday the 18th of July. So that's the Sunday the 20th of June for Hell in a Cell and Sunday the 18th of July for Money in the Bank. Big switch up here, and of course that it will have a knock-on effect with the other pay-per-views in the calendar year. Specifically, Andy Murray, we thought Extreme Rules was going to be the one that was going to be benefiting from a potential live event, because that's the one that usually would fit into the slot, but so is not the case, as according to Andrew Zarian of the Map Men Pro Wrestling podcast, who tweeted last night about how that Money in the Bank is potentially, with it being on July 18th, going to have that live audience. So that makes more sense in terms of bringing fans back for Money in the Bank rather than specifically something like Extreme Rules, I guess. And of course, Fightful Select had also previously reported that Vince McMahon was wanting to make some changes to that schedule. They might not be done here, Andy Murray. These are the first two, but I'm sure we're going to be getting a lot more to come probably with this.
Yeah, I'm fired up for WrestleMania 2021 2 in December. No, I'm kind of into this. Stagnation is often a problem in WWE, and flip your format a little bit, mix the card up, mix the schedule of pay-per-views up. I'm still not dead keen on the idea of having Hell in a Cell as a regularly scheduled thing that you just do because it's on the calendar. It would be cooler to me personally if that was more of like a blood feud thing. It's like you use it as and when you need it, rather than having a certain date for it every single year. That kind of undermines it to me. But yeah, I'm in favor of reshuffling the pay-per-view calendar. Why the hell not? There's nothing to lose. Extreme Rules, I guess, will need a new home now. But maybe, who knows if we'll even have an Extreme Rules after the horror show, the literal horror show last year. I don't need to see any more eyeballs popping out of sockets anytime soon. I don't think.
Although,
mind you,
we would have thought that with bringing the zombies back, that might have been the perfect time for it. But apparently, that would make too much sense, Andy Murray.
There you go, man. They treat them eyeballs like pickled onions. Anyway, let's head to some Twitter questions. First one today comes from Jason Watka, who asks the following. With WWE announcing the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view next, what matches do you think will feature the Hell in a Cell stipulation? I think we will see Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte and Seth Rollins versus Cesaro inside the cell. Thoughts? I think you're bang on the money. I think that personally, I like it. This is a bit of a boring answer, but I think that those are probably the two most heated feuds that you could put inside that cell. Unless Adam Nicholas, and it's not strictly a Hell in a Cell match, but there have been some whispers of Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal, and as we all know, Punjabi prison exists, and Jinder's been in one of them before. So, what do you think of the all-time classic stipulation there coming back in?
There's many answers I could have come up with here. None of them are going to top that. So I won't try. I do also think you're on the money with the feuds you mentioned already in the tweet as well. And how can I possibly even try and beat Jinder and Drew at this point?
When the Great Khali came down and just stole Jinder's thunder.
Took all those pictures with the belt as if he was the champ, but wasn't. Amazing stuff.
I'm the champion now because I took it from this guy who's a bit smaller than me. Okay, another question here from Mark Lee Willis. Thank you, Mark. Asking, is Morrison getting eaten alive by the undead going to be one of those things like being buried alive, set on fire, or being chucked off a roof that they just turn up again unharmed soon afterwards? What do you think? Yeah, it is. Like, who got thrown off the roof last year again? Was it Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black? Yeah, they just launched off the roof. They're on TV the next week. Obviously, there was a crash, Matt. They didn't actually get thrown off the roof. But yeah, Miz and Morrison are going to be on Raw. There's going to be nothing wrong with them. Maybe Batista will be there as a zombie. That'd be fun, actually. But yeah, they're going to no-sell this, aren't they?
I mean, 100%. Treat WWE like an episode of SmackDown, of South Park. It's just going to reset at the end of the episode, and nothing will have changed particularly afterwards. It's all good. You'll be fine. As long as you treat it that way, you're never going to be disappointed, Andy Murray, because it just pressed the reset button after the episode, because you're dumb and you won't remember it anyway.
Exactly, you stupid goldfish. Hey. What do you think this is? Episodic storytelling. Final question here comes from Seth Fracker, who asks, I know this is probably way far out booking, but the person who eventually beats Roman for the title is going to go on to big things. A less asked question is what I'm posing here. Once losing the belt, where does Roman go? Maybe time off or a tag team with Seth the Chef Rollins. Personally, I think when he loses the title, we got WrestleMania Hollywood in 2 years.
Yeah, we do.
Him versus The Rock. That doesn't need the title to be a big, huge match. So I think Roman is going to be in that scene for a long time. Maybe he loses it and wins it back or whatever. But I think the ultimate glory for him as a non-champion out with the title picture is him and Big Dwayne, if they can put it together.
I mean, that's definitely a final destination. They both mentioned it as much. It's money. It's pure money, but they've got to wait until they've got fans back for that one. I don't mind the idea of him taking time off. I don't want to see him get forced back into something with Seth. I feel like we just should leave all that alone. Like, I know obviously they had a bit of a thing last night, but I'd keep them separate for me. Like, they're doing fine. They don't need each other. And any chance that Vince McMahon has to even think about doing a half Shield reunion needs to be kept at bay for as long as possible. So I like the idea of Roman. Roman's such a big deal. He can just take the time away from me, and come back and cause havoc whenever he wants again, as and when he loses that belt. Yeah. Hopefully, though, not for a very long time, Andy Murray.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. 100%. Anyway, thank you for joining us for today's wrestling news video. Please leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think of zombies. Just like their culture, their dress set, like their favorite foods, everything. What's your favorite zombie in the history of zombies? You can also follow us on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. You can find Adam Nicholas on Twitter at
It's Adam Nicholas, and please do send us all of your Law of the Zombie tweets that you like. That they go down really well. And you can follow Andy Murray at...
You can follow me at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for...
How about them zombies?
It's just... There were zombies on the pay-per-view, guys. Yeah. What else you want me to say? Bye!
Go watch Army of the Dead. Yeah!